We're heading into week 6. Name over here. I'm Dustin. Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. This is our Fantasy Fix Show, our weekly Fantasy Fix Show. As always, get in those forums if you got any questions. Brent?
All right. Well, if you're not doing well, gotta win, don't got any wins, you're thinking your fantasy season's over. First of all, it ain't over. Keep pushing. You can, still crazier things have happened. You can make the playoffs. But if you want to do those daily fantasy leagues, go to FanDuel.com, enter the promo code FST2013. We send you a t-shirt, and then you get to play the games. They're actually a lot of fun. I've been doing quite well in it. You can get tons of values. So, Dustin, go ahead. Dustin, I will ask you a question from our forums. This comes from John Brady, who is the owner of a koozie because of this.
Not yet, but will be.
He will be. I'm going to email you. Or send you a private message on the site. Wants to know Cutler versus the New York Giants or Newton at Minnesota. The community is saying he should be going with Cutler, but it's pretty close, 56%.
This one's hard. I mean, normally when it's this close, I like to give the slight edge to the quarterback playing at home. So I'm going to go with Cutler on this one.
Ooh.
It's hard to bench a guy like Newton, but Cutler's been playing pretty well. Jeffrey got in the mix last week. He's still got Brandon Marshall. I mean, obviously, I think he has more weapons. Their running game's better with Forte. I think they put up a lot of points on the Giants. And again, they're at home, just giving them a very slight edge. But this one doesn't get much more harder than that.
I'm going with it.
All right. JR Films. It's close. JR Films wants to know who to start in their flex.
He gets a koozie too.
Giovanni Bernard at Buffalo or Pierre Garçon at Dallas. 57% is saying Bernard right now.
I mean, we got to have Bengals fans out there. That's no chance. It's got to be Garçon. He's been top 10 in targets. He's been playing great, finding the end zone. It's going to be a shootout on Sunday night, I think, where Dallas is going to score a ton of points on the Redskins defense. Therefore, RG3 is going to throw the ball a ton. Garçon's going to be targeted a bunch. I think he finds the end zone again. To me, this is a lock. Got to go with Garçon. All right, Rambo wants to know which defense. You got the hard questions tonight. Kansas City versus Oakland or Chicago against the New York Giants.
This one's just as hard. And there's no way I can break the tie with who the home team is because they're both the home team. But for me, I mean, Chicago's on a short week. So that's the only reason that scares me a little bit. KC's had the best D fantasy-wise, I feel, at this point. So I'm going to go with KC going up against Oakland. I know
Plus
Pryor.
Arrowhead.
Pryor, it will give them a little bit of challenges there, but they still don't really have much of a run game. I think KC's the play here, but a lot of times these come down to just who gets a pick six. But I'm going to go with KC in this one.
And I would say KC has a pretty good chance to that. Well, Eli throws a lot of picks.
That's the thing. Eli throws a lot of picks. Let's get into our studs, our duds, sleepers, and deep sleeper. My dud's going to be MJD going up against Denver. And I'm going to go even further than just saying, yeah, okay, MJD, he's had a terrible year. Of course, but I'm saying do whatever you can to get him out of your line. Even if you have like an Andre Ellington, who I might talk about in a minute. Here's the thing. They're not using him in the passing game. They're going to be down after the first series that Denver has the ball. I mean, I don't even know what the spread is at this point, but I'm guessing it's probably around 3 touchdowns.
It's probably going to be anywhere from 28.5 to 30.
It's going to be. This game is going to be literally a joke. They don't like MJD in the passing game. They're going to be playing from behind. He's not going to touch the ball enough. I'm staying away from him almost at all costs. My sleeper is Coby Fleener. He's had some decent games. He's been kind of up and down this year, but I really do like his matchup against San Diego. That game could be another game that kind of turns out to be a shootout. So Fleener, I like his chances. I think there's a good chance of him finding the end zone this week. And then my deep sleeper is Andre Ellington. Now, you look at the matchup against San Francisco, they're not nearly as scary as they used to be against the run. Teams have been running pretty well on them this year. So, Ellington, I know he gets limited touches, but he's got enough of the committee at this point to where I feel he's a decent flex play in certain situations. And obviously in PPR leagues, I like him even just a little bit more because they do involve him in the passing game.
All right, my dud is going to be Vincent Jackson against the Eagles, and here's why. I know the Eagles' defense is pretty terrible, and from the rankings, the contests we do on Fantasy Pros, we're still inside the top 20 out of 125. A lot of people have Jackson much, much higher as a top 12 play this week for wide receivers. I just have him barely inside the top 20. And here's why. I just don't trust Mike Glennon that much. And I think they're going to really run the ball, try to control the clock. Even though Vic's probably not going to play, I still think they're going to want to slow down that high-powered offense. So therefore, I just don't love him. But again, he's still in the top 20 play. But there's a lot of other people that you might have a couple of above him. My sleeper is Willis McGahee. You know, he looked great on Thursday night, and it's really a volume play. He's not breaking any 80-yard runs. We know that. But the Lions are third worst in the league, giving up 5.3 yards a carry. So you gotta like that, especially on a volume play. And again, there's a good chance he can find the end zone. My deep sleeper is going to be Heath Miller against the Jets. We all saw Monday night the Jets give up a ton of balls to Tony Gonzalez. The reason I lost 2 fantasy leagues and PPR leagues. Thanks a lot, Jets.
He's not there.
That was terrible. That and Jacquizz Rodgers. How do you play against Jacquizz Rodgers in 3 leagues? It's beyond me. I digress. I think Big Ben's going to be able to find Heath quite a bit. I really like him in a PPR league.
All right, let's move into Mike's picks. His dud is Chris Johnson. You know, he's not having that great of a year, and you combine that with a matchup against Seattle. You know, this is a situation that you're going to want to try to steer clear of if you can. You know, he's calling him a low-end RB2 or flex play for this week. His sleeper is Garrett Graham. Owen Daniels out a couple of weeks, it looks like. Decent matchup against St. Louis. And Graham was even getting involved with that offense even before the Daniels injury. So this should just kind of move him even higher up. And he likes his chances to potentially find the end zone. And then his deep sleepers, Keenan Allen for San Diego. This is a youngster that's starting to really find, get in the groove with Rivers and have decent value for them. He's had 2 good games in a row. Matchup against Indy, like I said earlier, that game could turn out to be somewhat of a shootout. So he likes him as kind of a high upside wide receiver 3 or flex in a really deep league.
And before we close, our condolences to all the Julio Jones owners out there.
That's rough. I dodged it.
I'm sorry. I dodged it too. Roddy owners, sure, it's going to look like you get a little bit of bump. Harry Douglas is somewhat viable in deeper leagues, but
don't get too excited about Harry Douglas either.
This somewhat news, viable.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. This news hadn't broke before my waiver wire show, so I didn't get to talk about Harry Douglas, but he's had opportunities to start before and hasn't really done that much. I mean, he's decent, but
I like him more than Keenan Allen going forward.
I'd rather take the upside of the youngster.
So that's it. Follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Advice. Get into those forums. Get koozies.
Ooh.